that's only a part of it, because I've been through their manifesto, this thing. In politics, know your enemies. They don't want you to read it. That's why we've had all of these leaks and scares. Ridiculous. Because they didn't want you to read what was in their manifesto, because they knew if you knew, you'd totally and utterly reject it. And so will the majority of our people. This will be our 5th year of uninterrupted economic growth at an average of 3% a year. And this is the first time since the war that we've had such a long period of growth, coupled with both balance of payment surpluses, and low inflation. Honourable members opposite talk disparagingly of the performance of manufacturing industry, but last year British industry exported more manufactured goods than ever before in our history. And they need to be congratulated, not criticised. How they hate it when manufacturing industry does well. How they hate success. Poverty, the sort of riots you get in socialist areas, that's what suits them. And you find Labour local authorities, and there you will find poverty of a greater and deeper sort than any elsewhere. Moreover, he omitted to point out that it was a Labour government who was not able to honour a pledge to protect pensions against rising prices, when the rising prices would have required a 20% increase, and they just hadn't the money to do it. And those who urge us to relax the squeeze, to spend yet more money indiscriminately in the belief that will help the unemployed and the small businessman, are not being kind or compassionate or caring. They're not the friends of the unemployed or the small business. They are asking us to do again the very thing that caused the problems in the first place. Remember the strikes that were supposed to bring Britain to a halt. The steel strike 10 years ago, backed by Labour. The violent coal strike, which lasted a year, backed by Labour. And a host of other strikes, backed by Labour. We stood firm. And last year in Britain, there were fewer strikes than at any time since the war. We close our conference in the aftermath of that sinister utopia unveiled at Blackpool. Let Labour's Orwellian nightmare of the left be the spur for us to dedicate with a new urgency our every ounce of energy and moral strength to rebuild the fortunes of this free nation. If we were to fail, that freedom could be imperiled. So let us resist the blandishments of the faint hearts. Let us ignore the howls and threats of the extremists. Let us stand together and do our duty, and we shall not fail. First, some commentators seem to suggest that the two main parties are now look-alike, a proposition I totally reject. The fact is, Labour are still socialist, and they deliberately set out to impose more government control over people's lives. That is where their whole belief starts. It starts with the power of government over the lives of the people. That is the reason why they increase taxation. More power for them over our money, less power for the citizen. That is why they multiply controls and bureaucracy. More power for them, less for the wealth creators of our country. That is why they like nationalization, more control over industry. That is why they reject privatization and wider share ownership. That is why they want more council housing, because they want to have more control over the lives of the housing of the people and to use it for political purposes, as in the Camdens and the Lamberts. I don't think the right honourable gentleman is entirely the master of his subject. Yeah.